Okay, hi, my name is Alan Brooks. I work at the John F. Kennedy Center, John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C., so Arts Center, not space, although I think the rocket ships are cool. I don't work with them. That's what I have to say every time I meet anyone at these conferences. All right, so ARTSEDGE is the part of the education department that I work for. We are the digital learning arm of the Kennedy Center, and we made two things. The Romeo and Juliet LARP, which stands for live action role play, for those of you uninitiated in the room, and the ARTSEDGE Games role playing game system. So, like I said, we're the digital learning arm of the Kennedy Center. So we make a bunch of cool stuff for kids on the internet, ages K-12, a little bit higher and a little bit lower, but not much. You can find us at artsedge.org. We are on YouTube. We have an iTunes channel. You can subscribe to podcasts and video content there as well. And we work in 5 art forms. So there are 5 arts. There's theater, dance, music, visual, and then thanks to the NCAS standards, media arts, which encompasses things like video games. All of our content is focused on the learner, not the teacher. We want that's a little bit of a lie. These are more focused at the teacher, but you'll realize why. In Arts HRD, we kind of experiment. We try things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Maybe we'll do an interview with this person and maybe they will be awful. Maybe we'll try doing video content this way. We'll try 5-minute dance lessons and we'll get 2 million hits and be like, oh, that worked. But just like games, we have a space for failing, right? And that's really important both in games and learning, is teaching people that failure is a pathway to understanding and how we can learn from that. So we exist on with a couple of truths, right? With games, where I'm concerned. Games are where kids meet art for the first time, full stop. This is my son, Liam, wearing his tunic, wearing his Hylian shield, and watching the Zelda Symphony at the Warner Theater in DC. First time he was ever exposed to a symphony, never saw an orchestra, and he sat in rapt attention for 2.5 hours when he was 6, way past his bedtime, because he was being exposed to art through the lens of something he loved, right? So the other truth is that all games teach. What matters is what we can draw from them, what we can learn from them, right? So whether it's something is highlighting that a kid is learning orienteering or problem solving or goal setting or whatever it is, kids are doing learning on their own. They're volunteering their brains to learning by playing games. And so that led us to ask a couple questions. Gold star, who knows what is going on here? This is from The Ring, okay, which is the Ring cycle of operas. It's an 18-hour cycle that is huge and behemoth. And so the Ring cycle is coming to the Kennedy Center. We were presenting it. So we thought in ArtsEdge, can we make a game that teaches young people the Ring cycle and make it in about 10 months? No. So led us to a new question. Can we connect games and art in the core classroom? So now we all know that games are art. That has been agreed upon. They are an art form. Our job is to make arts inclusive content for the core classroom. So the answer to that one, maybe. So I said arts inclusive learning objects. What that means is arts inclusive means that we take the art and we take it out of the arts classroom and we move it into the core classroom and get teachers in ELA, that's English Language Arts, science, math, and history or social studies using art to teach their content. That way kids are being exposed to art for more than just 45 minutes, 3 days a week. Games are art. So let's make some stuff that gets art in the core classroom. We did this in 2 ways. I'm going to talk about both of them a little bit. And forgive me if I'm rushing. I'm feeling the burn of the time. The tabletop system is based lightly on a couple of different RPG tabletop systems. D&D, we talked about Vampire a little bit. We talked about a bunch of different ones. And we put this magic thing together. So there's 2 documents. There's a core rule and a guidebook. The core rules is like your rule book from D&D. It gives you the mechanics. It teaches kids how to, build combat encounters. What does roll for this mean? What does roll for that mean? How do you make the game? What are the mechanics of game making? And the guidebook helps teachers actually teach making games. right? So if a teacher doesn't know how to make games, if a teacher doesn't think they know, our point is like, let's just try it, right? Let's get them making it. These are some teachers out in Bakersfield doing a workshop in it. They poked holes in all the right places and helped us get to where we are now. So because we're in, let's pretend this is in the ELA classroom, the English Language Arts classroom, which is what it was designed ideally for, but it does work in any core classroom, so math, science, history. Story first means that games don't have to be on a digital device, right? Many games, not all, have story at their core, right? They tell a story, they engage in a narrative. Kids are being exposed to narratives in ELA classrooms all the time. Let's figure out a way to merge those two. So take a piece of source material and make a game of that. One of the documents that we handed out earlier and that you'll find at artsedge.org is a game that we made as an example of what student content might look like. It's called Two Camps. It's based on Lord of the Flies. That's, if you teach Lord of the Flies, download it, use it in your classroom. But it's what student content could look like at the absolute A+ level. And what I think is really exciting, as a former theater teacher, as a former actor, as a former arts person who does not do well with code, I think getting kids to make games in a non-CS classroom is really exciting. It gets kids thinking about games from a different lens, and then you put them in the CS classroom. Then teach them the code. Give them the tools to make the thing they want to make after they know how to make it, right? And then maybe they're not great at code. Maybe they're like me, right? And they need to find their party. They need to find their people and build a collaboration, which games often are, right? Theater, dance, music, visual arts, a lot of the arts are already collaborative art forms, so are games. Let's encourage kids to understand they don't have to know every single part. They can be the story person. So these are the 3 documents. You'll find those up there. LARP, funny name, awesome games. Live action role play, it stands for being in a room with people and engaging in the process with them, the process of play. So with EduLARP, kids only have to engage as much as they feel like it. They don't have to be the star of the show. They're not being encouraged to be the actor, right? Teachers guide the game. And here's my favorite part about it is we've tricked them into being actors, right? When you are playing D&D for the first time, you sit around a table and you're like, oh, we're doing theater. This is great. So with LARP, we're standing around, we're engaging with each other, we're looking at each other in the eye, we're being engaged performers, even though we're not calling it performance. So we get kids who might be more in their shell, and if they say, you play Tybalt, you play Romeo, you play Juliet, read the scene. Wherefore other Romeo. Instead, they're like, okay, well, I'm supposed to love Juliet, so I'm going to have to talk to this person and like engage with them in real life. So we also encourage teachers who bring this into their classroom to go down the hallway, find the theater teacher, bring them into the classroom, work together, build a thing together. You can do it in groups of 14 kids. What I wanted to show you really quickly is this is one of the character sheets for this. So this does a lot of the acting work for kids. It says, if you're Mercutio, this is who you are. You're a hothead, you're loyal. Here's your family members. Your enemy is boredom. Here's a line that you can use if you want to while you're performing. This all came about because a couple of things kind of happened all at once at the Kennedy Center. My director's 13-year-old kid discovered D&D for the first time. My videographer, one of my contractors, had become a massively successful game master in his own right by producing a weekly podcast about D&D called God's Fault. And he was like, Alan, you don't play D&D? What is wrong with you? And Jack, the 13-year-old, was like, I want to play D&D. So Aram, the videographer, was like, we're gonna play. So he brought in a game. Jack, the 13-year-old, wrote a game. We played him. And as I'm sitting there, it's like I'm having a beautiful mind moment. I'm like seeing the secret math behind all the things that I've loved as a video gamer, like in real life, and we're doing theater in real life. So I was like, we got it. Theater, games, teaching, it's all gonna work. So I had to assemble a party. I wanted to give them the credit where their credit is absolutely due. So I'll leave these up for a second so you can write down names or take pictures or whatever. For the tabletop system, I asked Liam if he wanted a picture. He didn't respond to me on time, and that's what he gets. So Kip is our teacher in Bakersfield. Her PhD work was in games for learning. KipGlazer.com. She's awesome. Liam Raum, game designer behind Tales of Games. He made Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, which is hilarious and fun. You should play it. And Aram Varshan, he is our GM, our dungeon master. AramVarshan.com or God's Fall is his podcast. Our LARP team, this came out of Games for Change. I saw Bjarke over here perform or present at Games for Change 3 years ago. I ran up to him and his team afterwards. I was like, you do awesome stuff. Let's do awesome stuff together, please. Can I buy you lunch? And he said yes. And now we did an awesome thing together. So Bjarke is participation.design. Christopher Sandberg is thecompanyp.com. And Lizzie Stark is at lizziestark.com. Bjarke started this work for me and immediately said, listen, I can make a LARP, but I'm not American. So we need someone who has a voice that's not Danish. So he brought in Lizzie and she was amazing for us. We also had an amazing graphic designer, Nelson Johnson, Wittico, did all of our design and branding work for us. It was incredible and I thank him tremendously. I left this in. I have 37 seconds. But really, I have like 2 minutes and 37 seconds, right? No? Okay, all right, so don't worry about it. You've got my contact information. You can find us on ArtsEdge at Twitter. Facebook.com/JFKC ArtsEdge is our Facebook page. ArtsEdge.org, I've said enough. I'll give you guys a second to grab that. And then me, you can, let's see, okay, got it? Good? Okay, I've got 8 seconds. Okay. My LinkedIn is bit.ly/acblink, and my email is acbrooks@kennedy-center.org, and I'm over time. Okay, we did it. Thanks, guys.